So I was sitting outside of the bathrooms on this kind of row of benches, and Mr. Littleton came down from his classroom and sat on the bench right next to me. And he gets a ride home with his wife in the little Kia Sportage, and he always has to wait for her. But I had been pondering something at that time, and so I asked Mr. Littleton, what do you think about free will? And so he kind of sat there for, a few seconds, and then he looked at me and he said, well, Josh, I don't know. And then he got up and he said, my ride's here, and he walked out the door. And that's not something you really expect from a teacher, but I think Mr. Littleton knew that I was kind of wandering off the trail onto thinking land and not necessarily trusting God. And he directed me back on the path. And, those are the things that I'll remember him for.
I've known Ronnie Littleton longer than pretty much anybody. We went to the same church together in Garland back in the 60s and 70s. Then I went to college, got married, and got my first teaching job. Ronnie worked at the first school that I worked at. What I began noticing is that the kids just flocked to him because Ronnie set himself up pretty quickly to be that guy people just wanted to hear.
From the first day, you could understand and see that he was wicked smart, but at the same time, he was really funny. And I remember specifically one time I told him, my mom made my lunch for me today. And ever since then, he's asked me if my mom's put my socks on for me, if she's tied my shoelaces for me. Every time he sees me with a lunchbox, he asks if my mom made it for me. And of course, it's always true about the lunch, but not about the shoes and the socks. But even then, he's able to kind of quickly turn it on when he needs to talk about serious apologetic topics. And I've never really seen a teacher be able to go between logic and wit in such a fluid manner like him.
Ronnie's not only a great teacher, he's also a really good friend. A year ago, I had heart failure. I had to have open heart surgery. So I will never forget, as terrified as I was, that moment they had to prepare me for surgery. They wheel you down early in the morning, and then I'm ready to go off, and all of a sudden, here's Ronnie. I said, how did you get back here? He said, I just snuck in, man. He wanted to see me one more time. So the last person I saw before they cut me open was Ronnie Littleton. We laughed together, he prayed for me, and I will never forget that moment.
I'd always studied the wrath of God and his judgmental side, but developing a relationship with Mr. Littleton showed me that there is this kind of personable side to God, a side that is really a personal, loving relationship, and that he's tender and caring, and I really respect him for that.
So Ronnie, from the bottom of my heart, from my own family, thank you for what you've done for me, for my kid, but thank you so much, Ronnie, for what you've done for Legacy Christian Academy for these many, many, many years. We thank you and we love you.
I mean, all I can say is, if when we go to heaven, we're lined up in a little row, about to enter the pearly gates, it'll be Mr. Littleton at the gate, greeting each one of us individually.